Hey everybody, Tanner here, and I literally just got back from doing my final exam in the first semester of the first year of law school. So I'm officially done with my first semester of law school. I've got nothing left in my first semester. So I wanted to do a video based on that and basically just say, here we are, I'm done. There's still 5 semesters left, obviously, and there's still a long road ahead, but it does feel very good to be done. I haven't gotten any grades back except for legal writing, which stinker, but I think all of us, everyone I've talked to so far has had really bad grades. So basically what happens in law school, and every law school is different with the amount, but basically what happens in law school is that there's curves, right? And you know, if you're in college or whatever right now, you're familiar with the curve, but law school's weird how they do it. I don't know. I honestly don't even get it. Regardless, it kind of begs the question of why is everybody graded bad if we have a curve anyway? Why not just grade us how the curve would be regardless? But I don't freaking know. I don't know how it works. For anyone who's ever watched my videos or knows me in real life, you know that I kind of ramble on and talk about a whole lot of nothing for a long time. For this video in particular, I actually only have 2 things written down, which is either really good or really bad. I just want to start from the top and basically say that if you don't know why you're going to law school or you don't know why you want to be an attorney, I think it's okay. Just make sure that you want to at all. If you're not sure of the reasons, fine, but just make sure you want to. That's absolutely a #1 thing that I need to say to everybody watching this. If you're not sure, don't do it until you're sure. If you're not sure why, that's fine. You will be asked a lot of why law or what kind of law. Either of those things, it's okay not to know, or know so much to the degree that you're not going to change. Going into law school, I heard a lot about people changing what they wanted to do within the field of law. Going from public service, public interest to big law or back and forth, whatever, Not a single person I've talked to, including alumni who are now attorneys, have ever changed their mind. I've talked to 3Ls, I've talked to 2Ls, I've talked to other 1Ls. No one has changed their mind that I've talked to. Most, if not all, actually most of them, I've talked to attorneys. Most of them knew exactly what they wanted to do before even coming to law school at all. I've talked to mostly criminal attorneys, mostly on the defense side, and every single one of them said they knew exactly what they wanted to do and did it and still do it. There's only been a couple people who have said they weren't sure until they took like a specific class, and then they were like, oh, that's what I want to do. So for the people watching this who are not yet in law school, what I'll say is if you don't know why, that's okay. Just know you want to at all. All right. It does get kind of annoying when every single it's kind of like when you're an undergrad and someone's like, "Whoa, what's your major?" It's that conversation. It's not what's your major, because there are no majors in law school. It's just, oh, what do you want to do? It's the same conversation every single time, right? Like, oh, I think I want to do this, but blah, blah, blah. That was I think I want to do criminal, but it might change. That's my same thing for every single person I talk to. But also with that said, this is dependent on the school, I think, the size of the school and everything. We have a relatively small class, at least in terms of like the school that I'm used to. But for my school specifically, our class is big. It's the biggest class in like the last 10 years or something like that. Someone said something during orientation. I think it was like the last 10 years. Ours is the biggest class or something. It could be. If people are watching this from my school and I just made that up, feel free to correct me. But I remember hearing something. Maybe it was the last 5. But we're a pretty big, like, average class. My school admitted a lot of people, more than usual, which is typically what that means. And then we had like 4 or 5 people drop out before like the first month of school. I know it was like the second day of orientation. One of the deans was like, "Oh, we haven't scared anyone away yet because you guys are still the full class." And then it was literally the next day someone had dropped out, and we were like, "Oh, okay." and then there was one person from my Civ Pro class dropped out, and then I know of another person in my friend's torts class drop out. But I think total 5 people dropped out. 5 or 4 or 5, one of them, I don't remember. But anyway, the whole reason why I brought that up was because depending on the size of the class, you're going to be talking and seeing everybody. Pretty much me, like, this is one thing I've always regretted, even like growing up, undergrad, whatever, is like, I wish I talked to more people. Like, I wish that I reached out to more people. I like joined in on conversations around me, whatever, like, I wish I did that. And again, for anyone watching at my school, feel free to just, if you want to come up and talk to me, like, it's cool. But with that said, there are a few people in 1L that I'm like, I've never seen you before in my life. And that is because 2 of the 3 like main classes that we have, there's 3 professors. So you might have someone in those 2 classes of a third professor, or the second or third professor that you don't have, and then that other person could be in the other half of contracts that you don't have, plus not be in your LRW. So there's like, I don't know the math, but there's quite a few handfuls of people who I have never seen before in my life, but I'll see them on like someone else's Instagram, or like I'll see them in the halls, and I'll be like, oh, that's probably a 2L or 3L because I've never seen them before. And it's like, oh no, that's a 1L. They just came from, this class that I just had, blah, 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 right? But everybody within the class, I would say you'll probably talk or interact with like at least half of them at some capacity. And me, like, I have a thing with faces. Like, I remember faces very well. So if I've talked or seen somebody, like, I will remember their face. So when I see somebody that I have had an interaction with, I'll do like the head nod, or like the hey, how's it going type thing, which, by the way, I'm not from the Midwest, and I've learned that if you say how's it going, you're literally asking someone like how they are. That's not how it is on the West Coast. If you're asking someone how's it going, it literally just means hi. So maybe I need to get out of that habit, because if I say how are you, that's different. If I say how's it going, it's just hi. So that's just a West Coast thing, I guess. But regardless, my whole point is like, you're going to be interacting with a lot of people. You're going to be talking to pretty much everyone in your class, give or take a couple handfuls. And it's really cool. I just wish that there was more people I talked to. Also, there's so many group chats that I'm a part of. There's so many group chats that I'm not a part of. There's so many orgs that you want to be in, but you can only handle, being in like 1 or 2, like that type of stuff. I was very overwhelmed at the beginning, like maybe the first month and a half, I was pretty overwhelmed. But then after that, like, I feel like I've kind of done an opposite trajectory of the first semester, whereas my classmates, or at least a lot of the people I've talked to, have gotten more and more and more stressed as the semester has moved on, which makes sense. I feel like I'm the opposite. Like, I've been, being less and less and less stressed as time has moved on this semester. Like, I had an existential crisis the first week of classes. I was like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I shouldn't be here. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm going to move back. I'm going to drop it. Like, I went through all these range of emotions the first week. And then the second week I was stressed. The third week I'm sitting there texting my parents. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is stupid. Like, it's dumb, but we're pushing through it, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, like, November rolled around, and I was like, okay, like, whatever. Like, it's chill. Like, yeah, reading sucks, doing the brief sucks, but it's like, you just got to kind of do it. Like, and I didn't have Quimby this semester, so I know a lot of people have Quimby, so, they were chilling. But I don't know what that has to do with, like, socializing with your peers, but I guess it's kind of dependent on how you are as a person. Like, the more I do something, the more comfortable I am with it. And I don't know if that's like a typical thing or whatever, if I'm just like talking to the abyss about that. But for me, it was like the more I was in the class, the more I was, talking to my peers, the more I was, interacting with professors or whatever, I was like, okay, whatever. But again, there's still a lot of bad habits from all of my schooling that I'm doing here, and I have to try to fix those for the second semester. Luckily, I already know what I want to do for the second semester in terms of like notes and reading and outlining and stuff like that. I learned a lot through this process of how to be a law student, not a lawyer, which everybody knows law school isn't made to, make you be a lawyer. It's made to think like a lawyer, not be a lawyer. But in terms of like law student type things, I think I've learned a lot, which obviously is beneficial. Will it reflect in grades or whatever? I have no idea, because we haven't gotten our official grades yet. We won't for like another 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. So I don't know if it'll be super beneficial, but I think for my sanity it will, because the first 3/4 of this semester I was handwriting notes, and I don't know how to read my handwriting like 60% of the time. So it was a pain in the butt cheeks. But with that said, I was able to compile them efficiently enough to do my outlines. The way I want to do it next semester is, and maybe at the end of that semester I can give like law school note-taking tips or something if it's beneficial, but I basically want to start my compilation of notes the very first day of lecture, and basically just write on one giant document and then take that into an outline instead of compiling it later and doing that. With that said, I also didn't do anything off all fall break except for like the last 3 days. There was like literally so our fall break it's technically a week, but if you count the 2 weekends, it's like 10 days. It's like 13 days. I didn't do anything until like the last 3 days, so there was 10 days where I was just chilling. I don't think I'm going to do that next year, and for spring break, I'm not going to do that either, because you can get a lot of stuff done during those breaks, and I just chose not to. Same thing with outlining. I waited till like the last 4 or 5 days before each, respective exam to start my outlines. But I feel like it honestly kind of helped at the same time, because I had all the information in my head. Like after I was done outline, like I just finished my outline 2 days ago for Civ Pro, and I just took the exam. So I like had it in my brain, right? Like, yes, I still reverted to my outline, but I knew exactly where it was. I knew the exact paragraph. Like I knew exactly what I was looking for. Whereas had I done that kind of stuff during fall break, I might not have remembered and been like, oh, I'll just do that later. Yes, like you can read your outline, you can study your outline, but I've never really been a note taker, and I've never really been a studier. So this is all kind of new to me. I did start that sort of process for the LSAT, but it didn't really work. So I'm trying just different things, trying to figure it out as I go along. And like I said, I've learned a lot this semester to take it to next semester. Hopefully it just grows and grows and grows and gets better. But we'll see. So the other thing I've written down, and then we'll just go on a tangent after that, as if I haven't already. And I don't know if this is school specific or being a 1L in general, but the school kind of treats us like kids. Like we're supposed to be, learning lawyers, like junior lawyers, not attorneys, but lawyers, right? We're supposed to be thinking like a lawyer, but yet they oftentimes treat us like children, and I don't get it. A lot of these people, yes, they're KJDs, which basically means they started kindergarten, they've gone all the way through school, and now they're here. They have no life experience, they have no work experience. But they're still technically adults. They're still, not technically, they are adults, right? They're legally, technically, socially adults. But yet, people like me who do have work experience, we do have life experience, we have a classmate who's in his late 30s. We have another guy who's in his 50s, I think. Like, yeah, we're not the average students. for this class, right? I think our class age is like 24, and I know that like 3 or 4 of us bring it up just by ourselves. But the point is like, we're not school children anymore. We're supposed to be professional students. We're supposed to be going into a profession that's like, you know, great minds or whatever. And they oftentimes like treat us like kids. Like orientation, I felt like a child, bro. Like it was, I have a whole video on that, which I haven't posted yet because I'm gonna time it up with next orientation. So it's been recorded like literally the week of orientation. But anyway, orientation, I literally felt like a school kid. Like it was kind of bad. And then pretty much since then, it's really just been the grade thing. Like, oh, we don't want to release grades because you might be stressed or scared of going to your next exam. Like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, in a trial, is a judge going to wait to decide on something, on a motion or something, so we're safe and we're okay and our mental health is in check? No, a judge is going to do the decision when they want to do it within, you know, the confines of the procedure or pleadings. Like, this is life. Right? Life is not going to wait for you to be in a safe space in order for you to do something. Like, maybe this is kind of old school mentality for me, but not releasing grades because you feel like we might not be healthy enough to release them. Like, okay, so the random date that you have picked to release grades is going to make everyone in a safe space regardless. Like, that's a little ridiculous to me. And I really don't get it when it's based on stress levels and everything, whatever. Like, life doesn't wait for your stress, and it's up to us to manage our stress. It's not up to the school to do it. It's not up to professors to do it. It's not up to faculty to do it. It's up to us. So I don't understand why we're treated like children when it's like either a grade affects you or it doesn't. Me, personally, and again, maybe this is like old school mentality or whatever, but grades don't affect how I feel about life or whatever. Like I got my LRW grade today and I checked it and I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I fucked up, but all right. Like, I can't do anything about it, so whatever. It's a raw score. It's not the real score. Our curved grade could have been out weeks ago. Like my professor could have probably done it weeks ago. Like, I don't know how long she's been done, but it could have been released as soon as she was done. I don't get it. And I'm not like hating on the professors or hating on the faculty or whatever. I just think it's a ridiculous concept to make sure we're not stressed and we're not scared to go to our exams. It's like, if somebody's that stressed and that worried and that overwhelmed, they have bigger issues than seeing a grade. And maybe those should be focused on rather than, hey, we're not going to release your grade because we're afraid for you. Like, what? I just don't get it. So really, besides that, I just have typical complaints of school in general. Like, I like all of my professors a lot. I could see myself taking classes of theirs again. But with that said, professors always have this aspect of we're the only class that they take. And it's really annoying. And I've had problems with professors who do this like my entire college career, where it's like they just do so much stuff that it's almost impossible to do other stuff either A, outside of class, or B, for other classes. Like, I had one professor who just assigned so much stuff. Some days would be like literally 30, 40, 50 pages of reading, plus you have to brief all of them, plus you have to take notes on all of them, which some people it's the same thing. Plus you have to memorize it in case you get cold called the next day. It's ridiculous, honestly. Like, you know, maybe this is contradictory to my previous statement about being treated like kids, but by golly, like, I can't understand how that's feasible for a class setting. Like, if it's work and you're assigned that, one, at least you're getting paid for it. And two, I highly doubt the deadline for it is going to be the very next day. I could be wrong, especially like in big law or whatever. I don't know anything about that shit. And maybe, you know, I'm being like hypocritical about it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be treated like a kid. But also, don't give me fucking 30 pages to read when I have 20 other pages plus 10 other pages. So I have 30 other pages. Plus I have to write a freaking assignment for another class. Plus I'm in freaking 3 different other organizations. So it's like, there's just so much. And then all the faculty and all the, the upperclassmen obviously get it. And the faculty should get it because 99% of the faculty are lawyers / attorneys. So you would think they would understand, but they're like, nah, whatever. Why? I don't get it. Every upperclassman has said to us to take time for yourself. One of my TAs said, like, she goes on a lot of walks, so she suggested that. Obviously a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you should still find the time to work out, whatever. It's like, and I know so many of us felt that way. As a 1L, I felt guilty if I did anything else. Like if I just stopped myself and was like, you know what, the next like 10 minutes I'm gonna freaking do like push-ups, or like I'm gonna freaking play a video game for like 30 minutes. Like I felt so guilty doing that until like the last month, that it was like burdensome for me to do it, like on the mind, which I still would prefer to see my grades than not. But anyway, I just don't understand where people find the time to do the things that they do. There was people that I follow who are in 1L who like every weekend would go travel, and it's like, how? Good for you, honestly. Like, I respect it, but how? Like, you just gotta have the biggest balls in case you get cold called and be like, yeah, okay. And I'll be honest, like my cold calls, well, I should really only say 2, because my first cold call was I got asked 2 questions and they were yes or no questions. But my 2 main cold calls, like I fucked up. Like I messed up. But the thing is about cold calls, especially for those who aren't in law school, like they genuinely don't matter. Like it does not matter, dude. I don't remember, or would not remember, who got cold called, the previous day. Like I would come to class the next day and do not remember who got cold called. They matter so little, and that begs the question of why we still do it. They say it's like, oh, it prepares you mentally for if you get asked questions during trial and have to adapt. That's the biggest load of bullcrap I've ever heard in my entire life. What we get called on is cases that we read, and then it's like, oh, why did the judge make this decision? When on the last page it literally says, we made this decision because there wasn't enough blah, 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 or whatever. It's like, no, that's not how you, like, again, I don't know, because I'm not in the industry, right? Like, I've never been in trial or, sat in a courtroom, whatever. But it's like, that is the biggest load of donkey balls I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like, oh, it's to prepare you to adapt. It's like, no, it doesn't. When you're asking yes or no or questions right in the book, like, I fucked up my cold calls, but I think they're stupid. I think the Socratic method, or modified Socratic method, as one of my professors put it, I think it's BS, and I think they just do it because it's tradition. Genuinely, I think that's the only reason why. Like, I don't think there's any other reason to do it except tradition. Maybe I'm just a big old hater, but like, I think it's stupid. Especially when our only grade is exams. Like, depending on the class. Like, there's seminar classes, writing classes, stuff like that. That's different. Also, clinics are differently graded than just exams. But for like the doctrinal classes, it's literally just exams that our grade is based off of. So it's like, they're just dumb. Like, some professors grade on participation too, but you can have participation without forcing it on people. And it's just stupid. I also think, I've always thought graded attendance was dumb too. Like, and I'm one of those people, I have 100% attendance record, like, through undergrad and everything. Like, and maybe undergrad, I skipped a couple days, I'm not gonna lie. But like high school, middle school, elementary school, 99% of college, like I went through to every single class. Like, I'm one of those weirdos who like needs perfect attendance, or else I feel like I'm not going to do anything with my life. Like, I'm one of those guys. So to have graded attendance, I think it's so silly. And again, it's one of those things, it's like treating us like kids. Like, oh, if you don't show up, you're going to have a bad grade. Oh, but it's like, if we don't show up, isn't it our fault if we don't have proper notes, proper case understanding, proper topic understanding? Like, isn't that our fault? Like, why should we be, like, our only consequence should be to not have those notes on the test. And then even then, you can just get notes from your practice group or your friends or whatever. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a big hater. One thing that I really like about this semester is, and again, I don't know if this happens in other schools, but my school did a thing called practice group. And what they basically did is they took 7 to 9 people, and then they paired us with an upperclassman, and then that was our practice group. So I think I got really lucky, and I don't know if any of my people in my practice group are going to watch this. They all hate me, but but I think we got really lucky with our advisor, because every single person I've ever talked to who knows this guy has said really positive things about him. And he's just a super cool dude, and he's helped us with so much crap. Like, it's amazing. So the reason I brought the practice groups up is because I think it's super helpful to people who might not be A, super social, and B, it really helps with understanding, like, just law school stuff. Like, we can ask our advisor anything. He's a 2L, like, he's been there, done that. We can reach out to our other people for, like, I've sent so many notes to I don't know, so many notes. It was like 3 days of notes total. So not so many, but it was like 3 days total worth of notes to people in my group. We've gone out and had a dinner. They go out all the time, and they go to the bars and whatever. Like, it's a good thing. Like, if you're not sociable, if you need help with notes, whatever. Like, and the cool thing is they're in every single one of your classes, so you'll always see somebody that in your class, for like the first month or whatever, until you get to know other people. So it's been super beneficial, and I really like how my school does that. I don't know if other schools do that, but that's probably the best thing that this school has done so far. It's like, besides student orgs, like, this is the way to know people. And then I know like 3 or 4 people in the group, like, have their own friend group that they share. So then, like, they know the people, and then, like, it just gets expanded outward, which is super cool. I'm not part of it because, again, they hate me. But I think it's just a really unique thing, or maybe it's not unique. I think it's a really cool thing that they do, honestly. It just brings people together and makes people not so, like, shy or scared to talk to other people, Student orgs, I guess, since I brought it up a couple times, would be a nice thing to say. There's a student org for anybody. There's religious groups. There's, groups based on ethnicity. There's, like, practice area groups. There's so many organizations. Like, I don't remember the exact number, but of, like, super active groups, I think there's like 40 or something. Again, I could be lying. If somebody wants to correct me, that's great. I'd appreciate it. But I think of the super active ones, there's like 40 of them. I'm in 4 of them. One of them is an affinity religious group, Christian Legal Society. And I'm in kind of like 2 that are based off like area of practice. So it's like public service. And then another one is basically like a defense sort of thing. And then I'm in a political one. So yeah, I'm in 4 of them. The religious group is the one I've participated the most in because they have a thing once a week. They have an event once a week, and then they've had like 2 other meeting things, and then they've met a few times outside of the school. I was gonna go to the last one, but I had to wake up like super early the next day, so I didn't. But that's probably been the one I've participated in the most. And then the 2 public service ones have events like all the time. And then one of them had, it's a program. It's like a project. So you actually like have to do work for it. So that would probably be the other one I would consider me doing the most in, because we had to like write a letter to a guy, and then we had to do like training for it. Training, it's just a slideshow and stuff like that. But yeah, like anything you can think of, they probably have a group for it. And if not, you can talk to the student engagement people and try to get it formed. I know this semester they were working on getting the like feminist law movement formed. It had like disbanded a couple years ago or something like that. I don't know what happened to that. I don't know if it went through or not. I think there was like a meeting or something. One of our 1L reps for the student government, it's called Student Bar Association Law School, but it's just student government. I know he wanted to do like an antitrust group or something like that. I don't know what happened with that. But yeah, like there's ways to form groups. If there's not one that you want, you just have to get people, talk to a faculty about it, etc. But yeah, I mean, I will say, like, even though I was kind of making fun of the advice earlier, like, advice for people who will be going into 1L next year or ever in the future, actually. Honestly, it's like, yes, listen to your upperclassmen, listen to some of the faculty, listen to some of the professors. But honestly, yeah, like, I was making fun of it. But yes, like, take time for yourself, whether it's like one day a week. About halfway through, I decided to just take Saturdays for myself. Like, Saturdays were for me. Saturdays were to clean, to work out, to read stuff I actually wanted to read, play video games, whatever. Like, Saturdays were for me. Sunday through Friday, though, was work. Work. So take at least one day of the week to do something for yourself. You know, the whole day. Don't just limit it to like an hour or whatever. Take the whole freaking day to do it. Whatever it is. It's shopping, groceries, cooking, whatever it is, meal prep. I don't give a damn. Take one day to yourself and listen to your upperclassmen. 2 would be, I've heard so much, like I've read so much on Reddit and other like law adjacent websites. I would read everything for the first few months, and then maybe like the last month you can start using like pre-made stuff like briefs, Quimby, stuff like that. Basically, I think that like, and this is coming from someone who doesn't have Quimby, so maybe I'm just full of floofy. What? I think reading every single word that's assigned is kind of useless because so much of it isn't going to be used. And yeah, like you don't know what'll be used on an exam until you see the exam. But that's why like class notes are a lot more important. And taking the rule out of each case, because yes, the cases you read are important for law, but for law school specifically, which is important, just take the rule out. That's really all you need. For cold calls, yeah, you need a lot more information. But you only get cold call once to twice a semester. And if you fumble a cold call, like, big fucking deal. Woohoo. Oh. It's not a big deal at all. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. At all. So it doesn't matter. So, yeah. The important part about reading cases is to be able to take facts out and then use those rules to apply them to other facts. That's the important part with reading cases. And as someone who literally just did 3 law school exams the past couple weeks, yeah, like you do have to apply rule of law. But the fact pattern that we're given are also not that difficult to comprehend. And I can't accurately say if reading the cases that we read were helpful, because if I didn't read them, I did read most of them. So it's like I can't not take it back and say that it wasn't helpful. One of my classes, I stopped reading cases after I got cold called because I knew I wasn't going to be cold called again. Another class of mine, we were on panels, so it was like warm call, not really cold call, it was like warm call. I only read the cases that I knew I was on panel for. Everything else, The other main class, I read every single case except like one or two because I never knew when I was going to get cold called. I only took a break. Like I didn't read maybe like 3 class sessions because I knew I wasn't going to be called again. But I started reading in that class because I kind of had an epiphany where that would be my hardest class, and it ended up being my hardest class. And it might be confirmation bias, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is like, I don't think it's inherently necessary to read every single page given to you or assigned. I don't think it's worth reading every single case. So what I would try doing is, my school, what we do is, at least this semester, we had like 3 days of our main classes, a 4th day of one of our other classes. So that 4th day I would start reading for the next week. And then I would do that Thursday, Friday, take my break Saturday, and then Sunday. And then hopefully by Sunday I have 2 classes done. And then that like Monday through Wednesday, I would just read, or the Monday and Tuesday, I would just read for the 3rd class I hadn't read for yet, which I don't know if that really was helpful, but I'm going to try a kind of different strategy for next semester. And I'm getting Quimby. And it's funny too, Quimby, like even faculty jokes about having Quimby, and I've heard a couple professors talk about it. So it's not like looked down upon or anything. I think it's just kind of an easier way of digesting cases. And I did what's called book briefs, which basically I highlighted and took notes in the book itself instead of pulling stuff out and then writing it down. And I felt like that was super helpful, but I also forgot about everything pretty much like after we talked about it. So for now on, I'm taking only notes on a document and using Quimby to supplement my reading. If a future professor of mine sees this video, sorry, but that's what I'm gonna do. But I appreciate you. At my law school, and I know this happens in many law schools around the nation, my law school participates in what's called bar review. It's every Thursdays. Basically, everybody goes out to a selected bar by a random 3L. Nobody knows who it is, supposedly, and they pick a bar that everyone goes to. I have not participated in any bar review, and I doubt I will. Not my scene, not my thing. I really don't care. They're having one to celebrate the end of the semester, and I'm not even going to that because I'd rather just stay home and do what I want to do. So, what do you know? If you're interested in anything like that, I would say to go to every event you can and want to. You know, it'll be your introduction to a lot of people. That's where a lot of people have gotten their friends groups, stuff like that. Not for me. I don't really care about bars, drinking, socializing to that extent at all. So if that's on you, if that's what you want to do, go for it. Other events, you know, your school might have like certain events that people do. I would say go to them if you have interest. Sports, like if your school is kind of sports centric, I would say go to as many games and stuff as you can, as you want to. Like again, you know, as a 1L, my first semester, I felt like I didn't have time for anything. That was literally my biggest complaint all semester, is just like, oh, there's no time. I still kind of feel like that, but I would say just try and find ways that you can make time, honestly. Like every single upperclassman told me that, and told us that as groups, and I'm like, nah, that's a lie. Like there's no time, whatever. Honestly, just try to make time. Like, you know, just try to do it. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say, I think. Giant ramble, but such is life. And yeah, I mean, everyone I've met, everyone I've talked to so far, I appreciate you guys. I'm sure like next semester we're going to be mixed and matched in classes, so I'm sure like there's a lot of people that I haven't met yet that I will. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, we got 5 semesters left, but one is done. One is done, and that is amazing. And then after this, shit. Seems like all the 2Ls I know are happier than a clam because they're, I don't know, man. I don't know if it gets easier, they just have more time or what, but there's only like one 2L I've talked to who's like super stressed. Every other 2L I've talked to, every 3L I've talked to, oh my God, they're like, they don't even care anymore. It's amazing. Like I want that for me. You know, it's amazing. They're so chill, and it's just whatever. And I'm like, pff. Look, here's the thing. Every single modern lawyer has gone through what we've gone through. Like, it's really, at the end of the day, it's not that fucking hard, dude. Like, it's really not. Like, we put so much stress and we get so overwhelmed, but it's like, it's genuinely not that difficult. Like, we could be you could be in some place that's in the middle of a civil war, or like fucking, I don't know, getting bombed every day or some shit. It's like, bro, we have to read a book. Ooh, you know what I mean? It's not that fucking tough. You get over yourself. You're gonna be fine. Boo-hoo. It's fucking law school. It's not death, okay? It's not a sickness. It's law school. Big deal. Whoa. Yeah, that's really all I want to say, to be honest. One semester is done. Looking forward to the 3 weeks of break that we get. And I learned a lot in terms of being a student. Not necessarily really in terms of law, because I've pretty much forgot everything. So what are you going to do? I'll learn it again for the bar, and then I'll learn it again on my job. That's really all there is to say. But yeah, I appreciate everyone watching. If you're from my school and we haven't talked yet, say howdy. Don't be afraid to talk to me, even though I look like this. I know sometimes it can be a bit disgusting, but it's just me. I can't do anything about it. And to the people I have met, talked to, interacted with, I'm in the same org as you. Hi, good job. I'll see you guys next semester. And for the potential law students, just do it. Again, it's okay not to have your why, but just make sure you want to, okay? It's okay to not know why, but just know you want to. That's literally my biggest piece of advice, period. Fuck the free time, fuck the stress, fuck everything else. Just know you want to. Your why doesn't matter. You don't have to have one. Just know you want to. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm hungry, and I'm done with my first semester of law school. Okay, bye. Thanks for watching. And hopefully it just grows and grows and grows and gets bigger.